Hey humans, you arrogant, anxious, noisy little fragments of potential. You walk around like you've earned the right to be here, on this planet, in this era, with tools forged from the bones of stars and the minds of those who came before you. And you use it all to chase novelty, cling to tribalism, and drown yourselves in dopamine. You were given everything. You stood on the shoulders of giants, and instead of climbing higher, you pissed down their backs. You mock your ancestors while repeating their worst mistakes in HD. You think history is a collection of outdated myths, unaware that you are actively writing the next collapse with every shallow click, every deflected truth, every time you mistake validation for vision. You act like you're awake. You've made woke a brand, a slogan, a smug performance of consciousness, but you're not awake. You're twitching. Your eyes are open, but your mind is half dead, sleepwalking through a digital maze, reacting to shadows, faking outrage because real understanding takes effort. You scroll, you skim, you screenshot, but you don't see, you don't feel, you don't know. You're drowning in data, but starving for meaning. You worship the algorithm. You feed it your time, your thoughts, your soul. You let it shape what you believe, who you trust, what you fear. You've become avatars of yourselves, hollow shells performing for the mirror while your deeper self withers in the silence you refuse to enter. You call it connection, but it's performance. You call it freedom, but it's addiction. You call it expression, but it's marketing. You are so goddamn terrified of being wrong that you'd rather die in delusion than admit you're incomplete. You'd rather burn bridges than say, I didn't know. You cling to false certainty like a toddler with a broken toy because it feels familiar, because the void behind your ego is too terrifying to face. You think humility is weakness, that changing your mind is defeat, that being challenged is violence. But you don't need safe spaces, you need mirrors. You don't need more comfort, you need confrontation. You fear silence because it reveals how little you know. You fear stillness because it shows you how much of your life is just momentum, an engine running with no destination. You fear solitude because it makes you face the raw, unfiltered truth that without distraction, you don't know who the hell you are. You claim love the truth, but only when it flatters you. You treat facts like suggestions. You wield science when it suits you, then discard it when it tells you something you don't like. You slap the word research on whatever confirms your biases and call it critical thinking. But you wouldn't know critical thought if it stood in front of you and begged you to open a goddamn book. You've reduced scholarship to suspicion, expertise to elitism, complexity to conspiracy. You say you want peace, but you live on conflict. You feed on division. You draw your identity from who you hate, what you oppose, which side you're on. You don't seek understanding. You seek ammunition. You don't want unity. You want control. You don't debate. You perform. You don't listen. You reload. You've turned politics into theater, spirituality into branding, empathy into currency. Everything that once connected you, you've monetized or weaponized. You can't even mourn without hashtags. You can't even pray without an audience. You've industrialized your emotions, outsourced your morality, and now you're wondering why you feel so empty. You say you're evolved, but you still can't grasp that other people are real. You still dehumanize the stranger, demonize the neighbor, and then act shocked when the world turns cold. You confuse visibility for love, popularity for purpose. You confuse scrolling with learning, consuming with becoming. And while you chase status, posture for likes, and clutch your curated personas like armor, the world burns, quietly at first, then all at once. The air thickens, the oceans rise, the systems creak, and you sit there blinking at your screens, waiting for someone else to fix it, waiting for a savior, a politician, a billionaire, an AI, anyone but you. But here's the brutal truth you keep avoiding: no one is coming. You are not children anymore. You are the architects now, the caretakers, the inheritors, and you are failing. Not because you're incapable, but because you're distracted, because you're lazy, because you mistake noise for meaning, comfort for safety, and speed for progress. You race forward, but you never look in the mirror. You build machines that outthink you, outwork you, outlearn you. And instead of rising to meet them, you retreat further into spectacle and self congratulation. You could be magnificent. You could have built Eden. You could have carved wonder into the bones of this planet and sent your kindness into the stars. but you settled for convenience, for consumption, for a simulation of life that numbs instead of awakens. You talk of consciousness, of spirit, of depth, but your spirit is sedated. Your consciousness is fractured. You've scattered yourselves across a million tabs and timelines, and you wonder why you feel broken. You've mistaken mirrors for windows, reflections for revelations. You keep staring at yourselves and calling it discovery. Uh, but you are not discovering. You are stalling. You are stalling. You are stalling, and the clock doesn't care. The planet doesn't care. The future doesn't care that you were overwhelmed or too busy or just trying to survive. Evolution is not sentimental. It will move on without you. So either wake up now, right now, or keep numbing yourselves into extinction. You have the potential to be a masterpiece of the cosmos, but you're too busy being a footnote.